because of lack of movements for people who are able to earn their livings, this had to be done. And actually, it has helped so much. But on the other hand, a government only gets its income from taxation. And all these services that are being done by governments, the source of the income is from taxation. If those taxes are not available, and the government is not able to give services, and the communities or the citizens riot against the government, and we lose the government, it is terrible. Some of us have seen our neighbors, some of us come from the border points. We have seen countries without government. And the way they normally look at, you will just say we better have a bad government than not having any government. So these taxes are a very essential source of money for the government. Now that at least we are able to move, although COVID-19 is still with us, but we are able to move, we are able to do some little work here and there, we are able to earn some money here and there as Kenyans, and the government must give the services that is required. Now that schools are opening, we need money to make sure that there is social distancing in the schools, that is more classrooms, that we need sanitizers, we need water, and all other services for our schools which are about to open fully. And then I think it is just right time to have this taxation back to where it was, the level where it was. And even initially, there was a lot of discussion or a lot of debate that is it really helping the very common wananchi, this reduction of taxation, particularly the very people who don't have even earnings. If you reduce the VAT and I have no money to buy anything, how will it help me? That was the question that was being asked. Or if the pay-as-you-earn, which has been reduced from 30 to 25% initially, if somebody is not earning at all any money, then how will that help? So I stand to support this, and I think it is very timely.
Mr. Speaker.
I think it is very timely.
What is
Mr. Speaker.
Order. What is it?
Mr. Speaker, I think the leader of minority is having a very serious ODM rally there, and they're interfering with the debate. We even can't hear the speaker.
Order.
I don't know what they've done to Honorable Kajuang. Is there another swearing-in ceremony or something?
Order, members. Order, members. Even if you do not put it quite correctly, Honorable Positany, I think you have a good point. I do not know what meeting we are having inside the chamber. I see the leader of majority, minority, the minority whip, and even the chairman Park, all surrounding a former classmate of yours truly. I really should actually protect him. What is the issue? Take your seats, members. Take your seats, please. Okay, I think Honorable Haji, you had finished?
Can I be given a minute because I have been interrupted very seriously?
I'll not give you a minute.
Yeah, what we shall ask for is a prudent expenditure of these monies. As soon as the taxes are adjusted and the government gets the required monies, the government must be able to spend these monies as per the requirement of the law. We have had cases whereby even monies for COVID has been misplaced or mismanaged or chewed up by a few individuals. This should not be entertained. And those who have stolen the COVID monies, I think it is becoming too late for Kenyans to hear what has been done to them.
Okay.
With that, I support the bill. Thank you.
Honorable Amalwa, Honorable Dr. Amalwa.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this bill of amendment of the tax rates, it is coming at a time, Mr. Speaker, when this country, we are still faced with the pandemic. I'm wondering, Mr. Speaker, what the government based on to amend this law. Mr. Speaker, when you look at the positivity rate right now, Mr. Speaker, it's still going up. The issue, Mr. Speaker, is worsening like never before. At the moment, Mr. Speaker, our first line defense, the healthcare workers, Mr. Speaker, are dying. I thought this was the time, Mr. Speaker, the government should put more measures to cushion the country, Mr. Speaker. Unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, it is the opposite. It is the responsibility of the government, Mr. Speaker, to ensure that their people are safe. Mr. Speaker, of course, we know we need a delicate balance, Mr. Speaker, because for the government to run, it needs something. Mr. Speaker, the basic principle when it comes to budgeting, you look at your revenue, Mr. Speaker. And if your revenue has reduced, maybe because of the pandemic, the logic dictates that you harmonize your programs, Mr. Speaker. And we know, Mr. Speaker, in this country, as Honorable Badi had said, the big problem, Mr. Speaker, is in governance, the corruption. So by us increasing these rates back to where it was, Mr. Speaker, we are not solving the solution, Mr. Speaker. The other day, when we were debating about the issue of the KEMSA billionaires, Mr. Speaker, the committee report of health that came on the floor of the House, it was more of a PR exercise, Mr. Speaker. And the same people who are speaking today, Mr. Speaker, they supported that report, Mr. Speaker. This is the time we must come out clearly, Mr. Speaker. Of course, we salute His Excellency the President when he came up with the measures to cushion the Kenyans. It was well received. But I thought, Mr. Speaker, those measures of cushioning Kenyans was supposed to be determined based on the situation of corona in this country. The WHO recommendations, Mr. Speaker, the measure is on positivity rate. This is the time, Mr. Speaker, the issue, the pandemic is worsening. I thought the government should put more measures, Mr. Speaker. What confirms to the government that the positivity rate has gone down? Look at the doctors. They are striking all over. They are dying, Mr. Speaker. The situation is worsening. So the government should have extended, should have given more cushions, Mr. Speaker. But it's now contrary to what we are seeing here, Mr. Speaker. So the truth of the matter is the issues of corruption. Mr. Speaker, it's the highest time the government needs to rationalize, maybe to harmonize its programs, because the revenue is going down, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as we speak here today, I know the government has put in place so many priorities. This is the time we should harmonize those priorities, Mr. Speaker, and have those priority ones and forget about the others. Otherwise, coming here for PR exercise, Mr. Speaker, Kenyans are dying. Doctors are dying. Many people cannot afford food. The issues of the big agenda for Jubilee, this is the time they should harmonize, Mr. Speaker, and drop some to correlate with the reduction of the revenue in this country. I know we need a delicate balance. For the government to move, Mr. Speaker, of course it needs money. So we are calling upon legislators. As you look at this bill, let's debate it objectively, Mr. Speaker. I know the government is between a hard place, a rock and a hard place. If we can help Kenyans, Mr. Speaker, so that we can be able to move. But I support, Mr. Speaker. Okay. But let's look at the issue of corruption that is leading into wastages in this country, Mr. Speaker. I thank you and I support.
Honorable members, the less the better. If we can have members reducing their time on their own, we'll be able to have many members speaking. So since top on the list here is Honorable Maanzo, I will give him, even if I'm supposed to go this other direction, but I'll give now 2 slots after Maanzo to my right. Proceed, Honorable Maanzo. The less the better.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker,
because we don't need to repeat ourselves, and members have already spoken.
Yes, thanks, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. Mr. Speaker, when the COVID-19 struck the world, the reductions of taxes were done, and at the same time, it served as a notification that it will be for a while. So Kenyans anticipated that it will be lowered for that particular moment to stabilize our economy. And again, after a short while, when things improve, and now currently they seem to have improved, then the rates were going to be sent back to normal, Mr. Speaker. So at all material time, Mr. Speaker, there was a notification to all Kenyans that things in relation to the taxes will take that path. Mr. Speaker, also, secondly, the country, and not only Kenya, the whole world has suffered economically. And Kenya even seems to be doing better than many parts of the world, now that Kenyans have adhered to a great extent, coupled with our climate to the provisions and the expectations of measures to counter COVID-19. But it is still better now that we are going to festivities that Kenyans do perform much better, because when Kenyans help the country in adhering to the regulations, Mr. Speaker, then the effects, which are very bad economically, are reduced, and we are not going to go back to the same place, Mr. Speaker. At the same time, there are services expected to be taken care of. We have social services. The money is going to all the people, it's not there. The bursaries through CDF is not there. And the counties also have suffered, Mr. Speaker. So unless we pass this and stabilize, go back to normal, Mr. Speaker, the country will now continue to suffer over a long time to the effects of COVID-19, Mr. Speaker. So without me repeating what others have said, I think it's a good measure. And during public participation, Mr. Speaker, one thing came out very clearly, that a lot of Kenyans felt that this reduction helped a certain section of people, but not the common mwananchi. Mr. Speaker, the price of unga never changed. So many other prices never changed despite these reductions.